My name's Mary, and I'm coming to you from the children's room at the Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine, and it's time for music and stories. So let's start with our hello song. Hello, hello, to you and you and you. Hello, hello, to you and you and you. A big hello, a small hello, a hi, hello, 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 to you and you and you. And hello, everyone, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. We're going to have some fun, but what do we always do first? We do the word of the week. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go to a game, I like to cheer on my team. Yay! Go, go, go! It's a home run! And what do fans do? Fans are very boisterous. And that's what I was being. I was being boisterous, which is noisy, energetic, and cheerful. And baseball fans are certainly boisterous. And sometimes if you're out in the playground or out in your backyard, you might be boisterous. Or when you're playing a game or you're really excited about something or it's a birthday party, there are all kinds of times that you're bound to be boisterous. And everybody expects you to be. So the word of the week this week is boisterous. So how about we sing The Wheels on the Bus? The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 all through the town. The lights on the bus go blink, 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 blink. The lights on the bus go blink, 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 all through the town. The doors on the bus go open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. The doors on the bus go open and shut, all through the town. The people on the bus go up and down, up and down, up and down. The people on the bus go up and down, all through the town. The baby on the bus goes wah, 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 wah. The baby on the bus goes wah, 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 all through the town. The parents on the bus go shh, 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 shh. The parents on the bus go shh, 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 all through the town. Okay, it's now time for our story, and today we're going to do the story about the king with the terrible temper. And I want you at home to help with this story. And so I'm going to have you practice what you have to do. Whenever I say the king with the terrible temper, you go grrr. And when I say the young and dashing princess, you go ta-dum. And when I say the first son, it's ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk. And the second son is ah! And the third son is whew, ah. And then we have to have a knock at the door. And galloping horses. All those sounds will be coming up throughout the story, and I want you to join me in doing all of this. So, once upon a time, there was a king with a terrible temper. Well, this king lived in his palace with his sons. Now, his first son, ka-plunk, 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 was not what you would call very energetic or very active. In fact, he would sleep till noon, and then he would slowly come down the stairs to the kitchen, and he'd have a little lunch. And if it was a day that he was feeling a little more perky, he might walk out the door and around the garden, back in the house, and back up the stairs to bed. That was the first son. Ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk. Now the second son, he was very energetic. He was on the go. He was always doing things. He was always telling you what he was doing. He was telling you what he was doing, what he did yesterday, and what he was going to do in the future. And he was going all the time. He had all kinds of ideas. He knew he was going to be a lot of things. He was going to be a doctor. He was going to be a lawyer, an engineer, an architect, and a vegetarian chef. He was always on the move. That is the second son. Ah! Now, I did tell you that there's a third son, and we'll meet him a little later in the story. Whew. Well, one day, the king with the terrible temper was sitting on his throne when all of a sudden he heard a knock at the door. Well, the door was open, and standing there was a young and dashing princess. Ta-dum! She said, "King, I am the princess from the next door country, and my mother and father are getting older. But I see how well they've ruled together, and I can see all the love between them and how that has helped them rule. And so I am searching for a prince that I can marry, and we can rule the country as well as my parents have. And so I'm on a search, and I hear that you have some sons." And the king with the terrible temper said, "Indeed I do." And he went to the bottom of the stairs, and he called down his first son. Ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk. And very slowly, that son came down the stairs. And the young and dashing princess, ta-dum, looked at the first son. Ka-plunk, ka-plunk. She said, "I have 3 questions. Question number 1. If there are poor and needy in our land, what would you do to help feed and shelter them?" I'd make a cup of tea and contemplate the matter. "I see," said the princess. "Okay, second question. If we are to be prepared for our old age, how will you help us budget our gold so that we'll have enough for our old age. I'd make a cup of tea and contemplate the matter. Okay, said the princess. Third question. If we have children, would you go to every one of their soccer games? Soccer games. I'd make a cup of tea and I'd contemplate the matter. I see, said the young and dashing princess. Ta-dum! And she turned to the king with a terrible temper, and she said, I will not be marrying your first son. Ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk. And the king with the terrible temper, he said, rats! He said, but I have a second son. And he went to the bottom of the stairs and he called down his second son. Ah! Well, that second son, he was so full of energy, he came running down those stairs. He jumped down them, 2, 3, 4 at a time, and landed in front of the princess. And she looked at him and said, okay, I have 3 questions. My first question is, if we have poor and needy in our land, how will you feed and shelter them? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell them they gotta get jobs, they gotta get up, they gotta do things, they gotta be like me. Get out there and run around and go to the gym. I go to the gym 1, 2, 3 times a day. I'm always going. I go for a run in the morning, I go for a run at night, and then I'm at the gym, and then I wear the best clothes, and I go and get my hair done. I do everything I can. I eat the right foods, and I do everything, and I'm out there, and I'm doing things, and that's what they have to do. All right, said the princess. Second question. How do you think we should budget our money so we'll be prepared for our old age? Oh, princess, you don't have to worry about that. I'll take care of it all. Not a thing for you to worry your little head about. Said the princess. All right, last question. If we have children, would you go to all of their soccer games? What? Go to soccer games? I don't have time to go to soccer games. I'm busy. I got a lot of things to do. I got books to read. I got the gym to go to. And I got a lot of studying to do. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer, an architect, an engineer, an astronaut, and a vegetarian chef. I don't have time for soccer games. No, I won't be going to them. I see, said the young and dashing princess. Ta-dum! And she turned to the king with a terrible temper. Grrr! And she said, King, I won't be marrying your second son. Ah! Rats! Said the king with the terrible temper. Grrr! He said, well, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. She said, but I heard you had 3 sons. No. Those are my 2 sons. You saw my 2 sons, and it didn't work out, so it's time for you to leave. Please follow me out the door. And just then, the princess looked up the stairs and saw a young man coming down. He was reading a book and carrying the laundry. She said, well, who is that? And the king with a terrible temper, he said, no one. It's no one at all. It's time for you to be ushered right out the door. And she just walked right up the stairs and she started to talk to the young man. And they talked about the book he was reading. They talked about the laundry. They talked about taking care of the poor and the needy and how one saves for their old age. And they even talked about children and soccer. And then he told her a joke, and she laughed. And she told him a joke, and he laughed. And just like that, on the stairs, they fell in love. And the young and dashing princess, ta-dum, turned to the king with a terrible temper. And she said, King, I'm going to marry your third son. Oh, no, you're not, said the king with the terrible temper. You can't leave me alone with these other two. How do you think I got this terrible temper anyway? No, you cannot have him. And just like that, the young and dashing princess, ta-dum, took the hand of the third son. And they walked out the door of the palace. They jumped on their horses and they started to ride away. No, said the king, after them, guards! And the guards ran out the door and jumped on their horses and started to ride away. And the princess and the son, they rode as fast as they could. And they had love behind them, and they had the future to look forward to, and they rode faster. And it didn't matter how fast the guards rode. They could not catch up. The princess and the son arrived in her land, and they married. And they took care of all of their people, and especially of the poor and the needy. And they budgeted their money so that they were ready for their old age. And they had children, and they went to every single soccer game they played. They went to more soccer games than the average person. And they lived a long and healthy life. And so, this has been the story of the king with the terrible temper and his first son, ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk. His second son, his third son, a knock at the door. Horses galloping, and a young and dashing princess. Ta-dum! And there you go, the king with the terrible temper. I hope that you all joined in and made all the sounds. So now we need to leave. Hard to believe. So we'll do the goodbye song, just like our hello song. Goodbye, goodbye to you and you and you. Goodbye, goodbye to you and you and you. A big goodbye, a small goodbye, a high goodbye, a low goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye to you and you and you. And thank you so much for joining us today for Music and Stories. My name's Mary, and I'm coming to you from the children's room at the Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. And until next time, bye-bye.